this is Sara from Liza Fitness. Today I'm doing some food prep. So I wanted to let you into my kitchen and have you join me. Maybe you can get some ideas and make your life easier during the week, because you don't have to be cooking every single day or making your lunches every day. You've got stuff set aside that's easy, that's prepared, and you can just eat it. So let's go. So the first thing I'm going to be making today is a beef roast. My kids and I love beef roast, and I like to slice it thin and use it for sandwiches and wraps during the week, or sometimes I saute it up in the morning for them with their breakfast. It's just a really great way for them to have some protein. So I like to make my beef roast very simple. I get an organic onion, cut off the ends, and I peel off all the outer pieces. Put all the garbage in the garbage bowl, and then I like to slice it just like this. So I have lots of nice rings of onion. My oven is preheated. You just heard it beep. And all I like to do is just salt generously. Pat that in. And then I just take the onion slices and put them right on top. Gives it lots of flavor, and the kids and I like to have the baked onions when they're done. And then this baking dish does not have a cover, so I get a nice piece of tin foil and I spray it so that the onions don't stick to it. This is a coconut oil with no propellants. I always buy any kind of cooking oil spray with no propellants. And there we go. I like to bake it at about 275 for 3 to 4 hours. It's kind of like slow cooking in the oven. You can also make this and put it in your crock pot if you wanted to in the morning and cook it on low. I just find that the beef gets much more tender and juicy if you cook it on a lower heat for a longer period of time. Okay, so for a long time I have been wanting to make jerk chicken. So I'm finally going to do it today. I'm lining a baking sheet with tin foil. I'm going to spray it with my nonstick cooking spray. So I looked up a recipe for jerk seasoning, powdered jerk seasoning, and I found one on myrecipes.com by Julia Rutland. So that's what I'm using. Okay, I'm going to mix that all up. It smells very interesting. I've never made anything like this before, so this will be a whole new experience. And that's what it looks like. Okay, so I have my chicken breasts here. And I like to cut them up into smaller chunks. That way you get seasoning on more of the chicken. Otherwise, you would just have seasoning on the top and the bottom. So I like to use a kitchen shears, and I just cut them up into chunks. And I really don't care what they look like. More important is that They're pretty close to the same size. So I'm just going to cut those up and put the seasoning on them. The construction workers are a little bit quieter, but you're still going to hear saws and hammers and nail guns going off. It's so nice to have that project done down there. Okay, so I have my chicken all cut up, and I have my seasoning here in the bowl. This hand is clean. This hand is going to be for turning over the chicken. So I'm just going to take some of this and start sprinkling it on. Oh, this is exciting. And then I'm going to turn the pieces over and do the other side. Okay, I've got them all seasoned up, and since this is a dry seasoning, this can be just stored in an airtight container for use for the next time that I want to use it. So I'm going to bake these. Since I have my roast in there, I'm still going to bake these at about 400. They only take about 20 to 25 minutes, but you have to make sure that the juices are running clear and that they're done. And then I'll turn the temperature of the oven back down so that my roast can slow roast. Next, I'm going to roast some butternut squash. I love butternut squash. So once again, I'm going to line my pan with some tin foil and spray it with the coconut oil spray. All right, and then with butternut squash, all you have to do is cut off the top of it like that, and then you're going to want to cut it right down the middle as best you can. And then inside you have the seeds, just like in a pumpkin. So I really like to use this little contraption that I got from Pampered Chef, but you can also use a spoon, or if it's really tough you could use a knife, but probably a spoon would work. So I'm just going to clean out the seeds. Okay, and once you've got that all out, all you need to do is lay it cut side down onto your pan. You do not need to peel these. They're wonderful if you just roast them, cut side down, and then afterwards you're going to scrape out the pieces of squash or the squash meat that comes out of there. So once you have those prepared, you can just put those in the oven, and you can slow roast them with the roast beef at like 275 or 300 for probably, it would take about an hour and a half. Or, you know, if you didn't have a roast in, you could just bake these at 350 for about an hour, and they should be nice and soft. Okay, so the timer for the chicken just went off, and I took them out and cut open one of the thicker pieces, and it looks nicely done. So that was about 22 minutes. I'm going to try it. I may give them a few more minutes. Very good. I think just to be safe, I'm going to just give them about 3 more minutes. Okay, so that was 25 minutes, so the chicken is done. I'm going to turn the temperature down on the oven to about 275 and just let the squash and the roast. And later on I'm going to make some roasted potatoes to go with our supper. Okay, so I just took the squash out of the oven. it is very, very tender. So it can easily be scraped out of the peel with a spoon. Okay, and then once the squash has cooled so that you don't burn yourself holding it, you just hold it like this and just go ahead and scrape out the flesh. It's as easy as that. Okay, and now I'm going to make some roasted potatoes. So all you do is peel the potatoes and then just cut them into whatever kind of chunks that you want. The more even that they are in shape, the more evenly they're going to roast. I always use organic potatoes whenever possible. Potatoes, I believe, are on the Dirty Dozen list, as is celery. So I just like to cut them like this and lay them on the pan that's been sprayed with the coconut oil spray, and then give them a little spray. Salt them or put whatever seasonings on them that you want. And bake them at 400 for about 20 minutes or so, depending on the potato. And if you don't want to use the spray, or you would rather use some other kind of oil, you can just take olive oil. Olive oil is nice, and use one of these little basters and just go ahead and baste the potatoes with olive oil. And there you go. Bake at about 400 degrees for somewhere between 15 and 25 minutes, depending on the potato and how thick you cut them.